What's even more curious is that when I asked him what exactly he did to trigger this reaction in her, he replied, "Nothing. I'm just keeping to myself." Here lies the mistake, and the secret as well. Because the problem is not like that, do a lot. It's doing the right things, in the right way, at the right time. And that only happens when you understand how the female mind works behind the words, behind the looks, behind the situations that confuse so many men. The feminine psychology, applied to attraction, is not about manipulation. It is about interpreting signals, activating emotions, and creating connections that she cannot explain, but feel in her body. That's why these 7 facts that I'm going to reveal to you now are so dangerous. Because they affect a part of her instinct that she has no control over. While you think she's lost interest, maybe she's reacting to something she doesn't understand. Perhaps, without realizing it, she is erasing the desire she wanted to feel for you. And when you understand this, you will realize that it is not about being beautiful, rich, or perfect. It's about knowing what triggers the right emotions at the right time. It's about sparking that doubt in her. That feeling of, why does he make me feel this way without even touching me? The answer lies in these facts that almost no man knows, but which serve as a direct map of a woman's emotional center. So stay tuned, because from now on, every detail you hear here could become a key in your emotional game. And if you've ever felt like a woman walked away from you for no reason, that she looked at you one way and acted another way, that she seemed interested and then disappeared, this video will give you the answers you've been looking for years. You'll understand why some words awaken desire and others make them ignore you. And most importantly, you will learn how to use this to your advantage with respect, with intention, and with emotional control. If anything, I say here ever makes sense to you, write in the comments, female psychology without a filter. Or tell me about a situation where you felt like she was testing you. This helps me understand where you're at and gives me ideas for future videos. If you have a similar story to the man I told you about at the beginning, write about that too. And if all this has made sense to you so far, you've already begun to see what few men have the courage to face. The true power of emotional communication is not in the words spoken, but in the right intention, in the silent gesture, in the look that says what the mouth does not. When you start applying feminine psychology strategically, you stop chasing and start attracting. And it's not just attractiveness. He's the one who lets her think about you even when she's busy, even when she says she doesn't want anything, even when she's trying to forget you. That's when you start playing a different game. The game of the few, the game of those who break the codes, the game of those who triumph with emotional intelligence. If you've made it this far, it's because you're not just anyone. You're already part of a group of men who want more than attention. They want presence, respect, emotional dominance, and real results. Men who no longer accept rejection without understanding why. Men who study, observe, and turn intent into attraction. If this is your path, prove it to yourself now. Comment below, "I leave a mark without saying a word," or "I'm the man you won't forget." These phrases are not just words. They are your identity within this community. A community that grows with every video and believes in female psychology as the key to winning in an intelligent, passionate, and strategic way. And if you really want to be a part of this, like this video now and subscribe to the channel. Because every new content here represents another step in your transformation. The more you engage, the closer you get to the version of yourself that truly engages you, that truly dominates, that truly triumphs. And you may never have stopped to think about it, but sight is the first language you understand, and the last language you forget. It's not a matter of confronting it forcefully, let alone avoiding it with insecurity. It's about conveying the message with just one extra second of eye contact that you're there, whole, steady, and in control. When a man looks directly into a woman's eyes with passionate intent and a stable, emotional attitude, he activates something that words cannot. She interprets this outlook as an emotional anchor. It's as if time has stopped for a moment, and everything you feel unstable in life has a reference. Most men look at you as if they are seeking approval. It wasn't. You seem like someone who has clarity. As someone who understands that emotional safety is not about shouting words, it is about speaking with confident silence. This kind of look conveys exactly what the female mind desires: emotional dominance, focus, and most importantly, the feeling of being different. You're not there trying to impress. You are there observing, understanding, and providing the presence you seek without asking for it. This is a simple but powerful technique. Hold your gaze for a second longer than normal. Don't force it. Just be there fully. That extra second tells her that you're in no hurry, that you know who you are, and that if she wants to understand how you feel, she'll need to get closer to you. And when you feel this role reversal, when you realize that it's not you who's trying to prove herself, but she's the one who's starting to feel watched and wanted in a clever way, the game changes. She starts thinking about you later. You start to remember the way you look when you're alone. And this is no coincidence. It is psychology applied to attraction. It is the beginning of a silent but deep connection. Connection cultivates curiosity and grows as desire. If you have already tried this or want to start applying it today, comment now. My gaze creates desire, or I communicate with the audience. These phrases are not just words. They are symbols of those who understood the power of the invisible. If this is your way, write one of them in the comments now. What few men understand is that the touch that truly defines a woman is not on the body. It's in the mind. It's that rare feeling you get when you approach with sincere intent, but without need. Psychological touch is the art of reaching emotion before the body. It's the ability to make her feel something about you before any physical contact even occurs. When contact occurs, if it occurs, it is no longer just skin-to-skin contact. It carries meaning, memory, and emotional intensity. When she says something at the right time, in the right tone, and in the right emotional state, it generates an almost unconscious trigger within her. She associates that moment with memories that activate the connection instinct. Here comes an important point. The mistake that men generally make is to go directly to physical contact in an attempt to speed up desire. The right thing for strategic men is to communicate with words, with silence, with actions that create emotional intimacy. She just doesn't want to be touched. She wants to be noticed. You want to feel unique. You want to experience that feeling that no one understands your lifestyle the way you do. This feeling, when conveyed authentically, activates in her one of the deepest feelings there is: emotional uniqueness. Want to arouse desire? So stop acting like everyone else. Instead of searching for the right moment to hold her hand, learn how to create the atmosphere in which she wants to hold her hand. Just sitting next to her is enough for her to feel that tremor that she herself cannot explain. This is the psychological touch. You plant the emotion before the gesture. And when you finally act, the gesture carries a powerful emotional charge that links you to memory, feeling, and desire. This is much stronger than any ready-made statement or forced position. If you experience something like this, or want to know how to get this effect without saying too much, comment below, "Awaken memories in her," or "You will remember me for how I felt, not for what I did." I want to see who here actually understands what causes lasting attraction. And here is one secret that is misunderstood by almost all men. The fear of losing makes many give themselves too early, insist too much, and always be available, believing that constant presence is the key to conquest. But female psychology doesn't work that way. In a woman's mind, what is so assured, so predictable, so available, becomes emotionally neutral. What really activates desire is risk. The hidden danger of losing you, the invisible danger of not getting your attention in the same way, the emotional danger of not being the same as you used to be. This doesn't mean playing games, let alone pretending not to care. It means knowing how to apply absence strategically. It is understandable that sometimes what creates the most emotional presence is silence at the right time. It's that space you give her to think, to miss you, to realize that something has changed, and that if she doesn't move, you can actually walk away. This type of absence is not neglect, but emotional domination. You don't disappear because of insecurity. You are withdrawing from wisdom. You don't respond immediately, not out of pride, but because you understand the value of your energy. This type of situation affects her to a degree beyond logic. she starts looking for you. Start by analyzing your situations. Start by observing yourself in silence, because suddenly you're not predictable anymore. I have become a mystery. Ambiguity, when accompanied by perceived value, generates automatic attraction. The feminine mind clings to what has not yet been fully conquered. She imagines what is still open. She feels desire for what continues to challenge her emotionally. So, when you step back with intention, stop trying to persuade her, and start provoking thought in her, you are planting a seed that is far more powerful than any direct statement. It begins to occupy her thoughts even without you being physically present. This is the power of controlled rejection. It's when you say, without saying, it's there, but it may not be there tomorrow. This is perhaps the most powerful motivation of all. If you have already used this and noticed a difference, comment here. My absence speaks more than 1,000 words. Or, she misses me when I choose silence. It is these small emotional decisions that separate ordinary men from those who have mastered the art of strategic attraction. In the female mind, there is an emotional mechanism that responds intensely to something that seems simple. Validation of what you are hiding or fearing that no one will notice. This is where one of the subtlest, but most powerful weapons of female psychology applied to attraction comes into play. Invisible emotional validation. Most men praise the obvious. He says it's beautiful, exciting, and different, but that doesn't activate the emotional addiction. What activates this addiction is when it reaches a stage that even she was not aware that anyone could notice. This realization creates a calming effect, as if you had read a secret part of her diary. This is why general compliments don't work for women who have a higher level of self-perception. If she is praised all the time for being beautiful, that compliment loses its value. But if you notice something in her behavior, the way she acts, the way she stays silent when she's nervous, or the way she bites her lip when she wants to control something, and you call it sensitivity, you are activating a psychological trigger that is directly linked to emotional dopamine. Not only are you making her feel seen, you're also making her want something she never imagined would actually spark interest. This creates an addictive type of connection, because the feeling of desire for something internal, intimate, non-physical, is an emotional experience that only a few women experience. When that happens, her brain registers. This man sees beyond the surface. And believe me, emotional addiction starts there. When she feels like around you, she can be herself, without a filter, and still be validated. The best way to do this is simple, but it requires presence. Notice the details that others ignore, validating what she doesn't praise herself for. Suppose, for example, that the way she raises her eyebrow when in doubt about something is the kind of thing you don't forget. Or the way she stays silent, trying to look strong, is the most feminine and intense thing I've ever seen. This is not just a compliment, it is an emotional mirror. And the woman who feels her feelings reflected in the man comes back. If you've already used a phrase like this or want to start noticing this subtle detail, comment here, I see in her what no one else sees. Or, I became addicted because I noticed the invisible. I want to see who here is starting to master the silent game of strategic verification. And here comes the strongest and most dangerous point in female psychology, applied to emotional attraction. A woman does not become obsessed with a man just because he desires her. She becomes obsessed when she feels like she has been decoded, when she feels that you understand her even before she understands what she feels. This has nothing to do with listening to her words. It's about understanding what's behind what's hidden. The men who can achieve this level of emotional reading are not the ones who talk the most. They are the ones who watch best. A woman can feel desired by many people, but when you feel like you understand her silence, her discomfort, the look that lasted half, a second too long, it becomes unforgettable. Because what you are offering in that moment is not physical attraction, but an expected emotional connection. And this is the real trigger for the obsession. She realizes that she doesn't need to explain to you, to read her feelings as if you were inside the story that she is trying to hide from the world. When that happens, the game changes. She starts thinking about you in the middle of the day, for no reason. You begin to remember your phrases, your gestures, your calm. Because what you did was enter a place inside her that you didn't even know was open. This entry is not done by force. It happens with awareness, with presence, with emotional mastery. A woman who feels read emotionally begins to search for his presence as if she were searching for air. Because feeling understood without having to justify it is a rare, almost addictive thing. And here's a detail that only those who truly study female psychology understand. When you anticipate an emotion you haven't yet named, it becomes an emotional mirror. Her mind associates this with trust and deep connection. She begins to desire you not only with her body, but with her thoughts, her memory, her soul. This is what distinguishes fleeting interest from emotional fixation. If you want to learn to see beyond words and have that kind of silent impact, comment here. I understand what you haven't said yet. Or, she gives in when I read what she feels. These phrases are intended for those who are beginning to master the most advanced level of strategic emotional attraction. I want to see who's ready to stop being forgettable and start becoming unforgettable. You probably grew up hearing that in order to win a woman over, you have to be the man who is always available, who never says no, who responds to all texts quickly, and who tells her everything she wants to hear. This is the famous nice guy profile, and this is one of the biggest myths keeping you from being truly desirable. Female psychology does not respond intensely to the predictable. When everything is so perfect, so safe, so calculated to please others, her brain does not activate the emotional reward system. On the contrary, she may appreciate you as a person, but she won't feel that inner desire to want you. It is important to understand this maturely. Desire is not born of absolute comfort. It is born from the delicate tension between what you feel and what you still want to discover. This is where the power of emotional unpredictability comes in, not as a game, but as an internal field. When you act authentically, without a constant need to please, you start sending signals that you can't immediately decode. This generates curiosity. This curiosity, when well-directed, becomes attraction. Predictable men are emotionally stable. They are always trying to prove themselves. When a man tries to prove himself all the time, he loses the strength of his emotional presence. The man who knows how to oscillate between closeness and distance, who sometimes remains silent instead of explaining, who reacts in an unexpected way but consistent with his own values, this man activates in her a desire that is not born of logic. It is born of emotional influence. This effect only occurs when you realize that you are not there to be nice. You're there to be real, to be you, and that's what makes you attractive. The man who stops following the script of what is expected and begins to be guided by his emotional reading of the moment, begins to master the rhythm of communication. When you control the pace, you control the narrative. It starts to adapt to you. You start to realize that you don't react like others, that your responses are not programmed, that your attention is not automatic, and that your presence is valuable because it is not available all the time. If you've ever noticed that being too nice didn't get you the results you expected, comment here, I'm unpredictable, I'm magnetic, or she wants what she can't predict. These are men who leave the ordinary and enter the world of emotional strategic attraction. I want to see who here breaks the myth and takes control of their own worth. Now that you've come this far, one thing is clear. You're not just anyone. You are one of those who want to understand what really drives female desire, what activates her mind in a silent way, and what makes a woman remember a man even when she doesn't want to. Today I've looked at 7 motivators that go far beyond what they say. I've learned that it's not about being perfect or pretty or full of canned phrases. It's about emotional presence. It's about anticipating feelings. It's about knowing when to be silent, when to step back, when to touch, and above all, when to let the mystery work for you. And if you feel something different in this video, if any part of what I've said here really makes sense, it's because this language belongs to you. Unfiltered feminine psychology is for men like you. Men who already understand that achievement is not in extremes, but in emotional balance. Who have already realized that when you evoke emotional uniqueness, when you effortlessly activate her dopamine, when you say it without saying it, then true strategic attraction is born. But let me tell you something. What comes next is deeper. because it's one thing to get a woman to notice you. Another thing is to make her think about you every day, even when you are not around. There is a series of actions that implant your image in her mind in a way that she doesn't even understand. And in the next video, I'll show you exactly how to do this. You'll understand how to create an emotional bond that lasts, leaves a mark, and makes her want you desperately, even in silence. So, if this video moves you, if you feel it was made for you, don't waste time. Click on the next video now and enter this universe once and for all. But before you leave, tell me in the comments, I'm willing to be remembered every day, or you'll think of me even when you don't want to. I want to see who here continues this journey. Like the video and subscribe to the channel, because this is not just another content. It is the beginning of a new version of you. The version that dominates the unseen game.